pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good afternoon. Today is March 12th, 2019. The year's going by fast. Hopefully we're starting to get into springtime, but you never know around here lately. Has everybody had a chance to look at the minutes?
I have.
Yes, I have.
Could I have a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
I second it, Mr. Chairman.
It's been moved and seconded. Do we have further comment? Hearing none, I assume you're ready to vote. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
3-0. Commissioner comments and committee reports.
I have none.
I have none, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. The monthly EMS report was attached to our packet. Everybody see is some credit. I don't think there's any questions about it. Did you, are you here for?
The ambulance bid?
Oh, you are, okay. You already opened those last week.
Right? Are they announcing?
We're gonna select the winner today. Yeah. Okay. So Howard, do you want to come up? No, we're supposed to open these still does at 1:15.
Yeah, so I got a little bit of time. I was going to discuss the Knoxville annual report, or
Okay.
I guess ask for your approval on that and signatures on that report into the state.
You might tell us.
Yeah. Basically what this is, it's the 2018 annual report on noxious weed. It basically tracks financials for the noxious weed department, what chemicals were sold, what surveys were done out in the county. Every year we do, I believe it's 10 surveys. Actually myself goes out, surveys these areas, and come back and document what weeds were found within our county, and it basically does a calculation of what the estimated acreage of noxious weeds we have in our county. So basically that's all it is. We send that into the state and they review it and we go from there.
Okay, so this is just basically the annual report, receive and file.
Pretty much.
If anybody wants to see it,
Correct.
they can review it where.
They can review it at our office, or we can actually post it on the website.
Okay.
We don't have an item for it, we never have, but we can.
I don't know. Anything we can give people information is always nice.
Okay.
So I would entertain a motion to approve the report and receive and file.
Also move.
I'm in favor.
Second. Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes 3-0. Does require all our signatures. Seth, when we have a few minutes, would you mind telling people how we're proceeding in regard to the noxious weed being moved and how that's working?
Right now, we're actually in the transition of moving chemicals. I mean, not now, it's spring, but this week we're planning on moving all the chemicals to Atchison, to our storage container here. Everything normal business. I mean, just have to come to the Atchison office for that. Our spraying rig will still be utilized throughout the normal season. You'll see it out spraying as soon as the weather cooperates with us. Really nothing changes other than the office space, and they'll see a new face there at the office to sell chemicals. So
is it going to be well posted at the prior office?
Yes, there'll be something posted on the door stating that the office for all chemical sales will be done in Atchison at our location.
So you'll be up and running when?
Really anytime we'll be up and running. This week I hope to have most of the chemicals moved. We do have a few containers there in Atchison in case somebody were to come in, but I highly doubt anybody comes in right now. But yeah, everything should be moved by the end of the week if the rain stops. So.
But you know, no matter how much we've talked about it, even though it's been in the newspaper, the posts on Facebook, the day you need the chemicals, you're going to go to Effingham.
Correct.
So maybe we need to continue to
We'll
remind
continue.
people.
We'll do some more Facebook posts and get out on social media. Yeah, I think that word passes faster than anything. So we'll work on that. So, and they can call our office anytime. They can still call the old noxious weed number. We still have it activated, which rings to our office also. So, what do you think on that?
I mean, I've got very little information.
Okay.
I can sure pass along what little I think you got the same email I did.
Yeah, let me just pull the email up, and I'll forward this on to you all. The city
It would be
actually,
a west question.
yeah, it would be a west more or less. The river is actually predicted to flood again, close to the historical levels again. I think they're planning on 30.5 feet.
31 feet, 319 is predicted.
Okay. And that is predicted for next Tuesday. So if it does get that high, River Road will be underwater. We'll probably have a lot of damages with that. But we really won't know. It depends on all the weather and whatnot, but that's what they are predicting. So if that's the case and water does start to rise, we'll close River Road and make notification as soon as we know anything. But we're going to watch that pretty close. I'll have Wes, and we'll all work together and make something happen.
So what level is it? Flood last time?
Well,
31.53, I believe, or 31.63 in 1993.
and your 2011 flood was 31 foot even.
So this has nothing to do with the dams up north. It's just moisture.
This is
Some of the
basically
snow water.
Melt off, right?
everything from
I
the
just
north.
found out at 10 this morning.
Yeah.
We've got a meeting tomorrow to get more information, so this is very preliminary. A meeting tomorrow at 3.
Oh, I didn't even realize there was
I'm
another.
sure Russ will keep the.
Yeah.
I got it. He's aware because I got an email yesterday or the day before from the River Corps. What do they call it?
Corps of
Corps of Engineers that would be flooding. So I asked him. He said, "Yeah, he was aware of it."
So yeah, we just received, most of us just received
Is there any other roads impacted besides River Road for Atchison County?
From the river flooding, no, I don't believe so.
I didn't know if that would back up into like Independence Creek, or if there's other roads that
There,
will be.
not to my
If
knowledge,
we
there
get
wasn't.
some rain on top of it, and the
But there-
riverside, the creeks.
There could be some
Yeah.
possibilities of some
Some
extra
backup.
flooding, and we'll just play that by ear when that
And
comes.
we've already been working with road conditions and having backup plans for patient transport. So this isn't anything we're not
Used to.
prepared for.
We have historical data. Keep an eye on that one. Now, the noxious weed building. How much space are you vacating?
Well, I mean, ultimately the whole entire building. I mean, we still, through the winter, we store a bunch of our mowing equipment and everything out there. So it's,
EMS is not using the building?
at this current time, we have a few odd end things like the air compressor and
Yeah, we're
generator maybe, but
they
nothing.
need air in the tires. They're going over there, but we don't have anything specifically ours stored in that building now.
Is there any servers in that building?
There is the backup tornado siren server. Basically, how they said if the dispatch system were to go down, the system out there is what controls them. So it's in the.
And it has to be air conditioned?
It has to be kept. I don't know about air conditioning, but it has to be at least heated. It has to be climate controlled to a certain extent. So the heater's turned completely down, and the air conditioner is set at a certain rate. So it's to its minimum.
So we'll be looking for a different use for that building?
It's really, we can't get rid of it due to the fact that it's connected to the EMS station. Really, I mean, if Corey has a backup unit that can be stored in that building, because that shop side could be is climate controlled. There is some work that would need to be done to it with the insulation, with the birds that are inside and everything else. So, I don't
I've had
know.
thoughts, but I haven't gone any further than maybe a very basic plan, thought process on what.
Yeah, I just always was under the understanding that you were using that property.
Not currently. I've been kind of waiting for permission from you three to make any concrete or put any real numbers together, but I do have an idea.
What is the building that right next to your current location here in the city? The little storage shed.
We
What's
use that for emergency management, disaster preparedness trailer. It also has the CERT trailer in it, which is the Community Emergency Response Team trailer. What else is in that building? Our overflow storage is in that building. We store spare cots, training equipment, things that don't need heat that can be stored unheated, uncontrolled control building. We've got spare parts.
What else
Didn't
is-
use a storage shed, I guess is the best way to put
Yeah,
it.
is it full or?
No, not completely, but it's well used.
Where's the boat stored?
The boat's stored at the rescue barns and recycling shed down on 73 Highway.
Okay. That's in there, okay.
It's crammed in there, but
Yeah,
it all fits.
It all fits. The door's closed. But yeah, all the rescue equipment is stored at that facility.
Okay. Do we have things stored that we don't need any longer?
I don't currently.
I'm just, we as the county.
Yeah,
We as a county, I didn't be used.
Like
I hate to
there-
speak for any other department, but we waved off a lot of what we didn't need.
Yeah, there's a temptation when you got storage to store.
Yeah, oh,
And,
absolutely.
yeah,
Well, it's easy to put it out there and shut the door and forget about it,
Yeah.
but we did. I don't have a lot of extra stuff, so
okay.
I would hate to speak for any other department, but we did cast off a little bit last year.
The clerk has extra stuff.
No, I actually don't have as much anymore.
I think it was
We've-
we as a county.
We've recycled a lot. There are some things out there, but I have to get permissions from the Secretary of State before I can actually remove them. But that's right around the corner.
So Seth, anything else? We're killing 3 minutes.
I'm aware of all the muddy roads. We're doing our best to get rock over everything, but this winter was tough on us, and just bear with us.
Is there a way we can accelerate service? Is there any ideas you have? Or?
More sunshine.
Sunshine, yeah. Really, we're using every rock truck we have. I mean, the old, the new, the everything. Everything's going every day. So, I mean, we're just going as fast as we can. On a day like today, if it's too muddy to get the trucks on the roads, I mean, we'll do more damage than good if it's, it rains an inch and we're out there trying to spread rock. So, days like today, we'll actually haul rock from the quarries to Effingham and stockpile there where the turnaround for the west side of the county can be less. Because it's a good 2.5, sometimes 3 hour round trip from here to the very western part, dumping and coming back in and getting loaded again. So it is time consuming. Those guys usually only get 4 to 5 loads if they're going to the very far west part of the county a day. So it's a struggle.
And that's sometimes it seems, and I'm not. There's no accusation or anything, but it seems like areas closer to Atchison get gravel quicker. But I know there's a lot more quicker turnaround time.
Correct.
So I mean, there's nothing more than an observation. It's harder if you've got a half an hour or 45 minutes left. You can get that extra load, but storing it out there, if you can, haul it out there on days like today when you can get out there, so then you can do those roads. I can see of course you're loading it twice, but you're utilizing your time.
Correct. And it is a struggle to store. I mean, we can store in the wintertime, but if that rock freezes out there, we get chunks that come out of the back of the trucks. Nobody wants to hit a big rock chunk. So right now, it's basically ideal where it's not freezing as much. We can pull out of that stockpile and not have a bunch of frozen chunks in it. So we haven't had the stockpile yet. They're still running as I left for lunch. They were still running and had no problems. But tomorrow, I could see some issues if we're back on the roads. And so the blade guys are out. They're trying to clean most of the mud out before we dump some bigger base rock back into those very bad spots, I guess you could say. And then we'll cover them back up with some road rock. But it's very time consuming. And a lot of these times our trucks can't even make it through some of the bad spots. So we have to have a blade on site at every spot. So.
It's going to be 1:15 in 30 seconds.
We got a bid.
Got one.
So, as soon as it turns to 1:15, we'll open the bid.
Okay.
I took an old grandma cow to Hope Sound, got a butt shearing, but I mentioned something in the problem was taken care of yesterday about down by Mr. Potts's hole.
South of Effingham.
We did.
Taken care of
I
yesterday.
was gonna do some cold patch in it, but with the way that road conditioned, we just dumped a bunch of rock and then we packed it in. I think it solved the problem. I don't know if you've driven it this
Mhm.
morning. Did
I
it?
checked it. I'd seen it was still there. I'd had a couple complaints, and I went back 1 or 2 o'clock, seen that it was done.
Okay. So
Let's go ahead and open the bid. It's 115.
So this one bid, it's for the old oil tank that we have, $200, and the bidder is Kevin Trotloff. So, not accept that. I don't know if it's,
Is he willing to come pick it up?
they are required to come pick it up. We will assist in loading it from our site, but it is their responsibility to take it from our site. So
Just you have to prove insurance.
We put together kind of a bunch of requirements. No, I don't think insurance was one of the things that was on there, but I think this is something that should be covered under just a general automobile policy. Moving it. The item itself wouldn't be, but it's only worth $200.
We need a motion to approve this.
Yes.
Make sure that. I'll make a motion that we accept the bid, $200 for the oil tank.
I'll second it.
It's moved and seconded. Do you have any further discussion? Hearing none, I assume you're ready to vote. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes 3-0.
okay, I'll let Mr. Trotloff know.
Yeah. Corey, do we need to wait till 1:30 for you here?
He stepped out.
Okay, well, he's out. I have an email here from Belinda Estes at NECAP, and she's requesting us to approve an exemption for completing environmental reviews. And I think most of the commissioners looked at this and we're not really sure what we're agreeing to. Is it something that maybe they should come and explain this to us?
I think that would be a good idea. I looked at it and I don't understand it either.
So,
So-
Michelle, would you be willing to contact her and say, hey, can you come in? Or I know they have an office here, maybe somebody else could come in and do it too.
I can.
I mean, I hate to say if someone drives by a lot, but they don't have to.
Sure will.
Okay.
You have to fill up for the gas, right?
What?
And you have to fill up for the
Well,
gas.
yes, it is.
I'm gonna say, they said they have to have that done every 3 years, but I don't remember doing it 3 years ago. I've never,
It's 5 years.
Huh?
Every 5 years.
5 years? I thought, I misread it.
5 years required
Well,
after the environmental
Must
review.
have just been done then before I got on. And I don't recognize the name either. And I do have a NECAP board meeting the 21st of March. So if, I'm just saying that just in.
Yeah, maybe you can get an explanation you can explain to us too.
If they can't make it here, maybe she could see me at
Okay.
that meeting.
Sure.
I'm just trying to.
21st.
So should we move on to county councilor updates while we're waiting for Corey at 1:30? Pat, you got some updates?
Really just the tax sale. We do have a final judgment. The list should be published on Saturday. If people are interested in getting information, it will all be on the county's website. They should go to the county's website. There's a place called for email notifications. People can sign up and we'll get the list and the maps available. Roger Denton has prepared an interactive map that shows where the properties are, and when you click on them, it gives you the information about that specific property. Also included on there are the generalized rules about bidding. We're going to make a couple changes this year from what we've done in past years. In past years, we've required 2 checks, one for the Register of Deeds and one for that goes to the court. That's really not necessary. We can just take 1 check and have the clerk of the court write a check to the Register of Deeds when that time comes. and I think that's probably simpler. It should speed up the checkout process a little bit too. And we've also made some changes in how we're going to approach the checkout process with in the past, there have been people that have bought property or been the high bidder at the sale and then have asked to put the property in someone else's name. And we're not going to do that. We're going to put the property in the name of whomever registers. So if somebody wants to bid for 3 different entities, they need to get 3 different bid numbers. And we're because it's a lot of work to go back afterwards and check to see how people want the deed, and then also liability if the deed isn't what they wanted. So this, we're putting all of the burden on the bidder to tell us how they want their deed. If they want it an individual or they want a joint tenancy, they will pick that when they get their bid number. And we've also had situations where people have bought and sold from the purchaser, and we're not going to be involved in any of that either. We're going to issue the deed to the high bidder that's approved. That hasn't really caused us any problems other than trying to keep track of, wait, my list says that bid number 81 bought it and yours says 72 bought it. And then, oh yeah, afterwards they made a deal to transfer it. So
they could transfer it later after they get the deed.
Yeah, they could probably do a deed beforehand, yes, they could transfer the property. Mm-hmm. We won't have any control over that, but they'll have to have the deed prepared and record it. Okay.
So. I know we discussed it previously. What about the venue? Are we still going to do it out here, or are we going to try to get the courtroom?
Yeah, I talked to Donna about it. There is nothing scheduled for court currently on that day. There's no court, just coincidentally, no court scheduled at all.
I personally think it would be a much better venue up there. Just the echo in the hall, it's long. If you get a big crowd, there's people clear down here, and it is very hard to hear, especially we may have hearing impaired people. The sound quality would be much better in the courtroom. I think it would be much better for everyone.
Yeah, it's a possibility to do it there. We also could look at having it at a different place. It doesn't have to be at the courthouse. It could be at the conference center or some other USD 409 room would be a bigger room. Memorial Hall, yeah.
So there's a couple questions I've got. I know you get on the email notification list, but is there a link that I can actually go get the information?
I don't believe there is yet, but there will be.
Okay. So when we know that time when it's there, maybe that's a good time for us to get a social media post. This is where you can get it in and actually include the link.
Yeah, and I've talked with Roger about it too, that we don't want to, everything's going to be available for people to print themselves. We'll have a list that they can print to bring for the sale as well. And Roger is going to prepare some cards, if you will, that will have the link on it to give to people instead.
Okay. I'd like to have some of those cards.
We will have one of them, we'll have one booklet made down in the appraiser's office if people want to go look at it in paper. We could have more than that made, I guess. If
probably plenty of people today, they're going to bid on a property, should have access to be able to read it online or whatever, a PDF.
Right, and I've also put the rules on there. I've tried to stress, because it happens every year, that people say, well, wait, I shouldn't have to pay taxes for the year that I bought the property because I didn't have possession of the property for the entire year. Well, if you feel that way, don't bid on property, because that's the law. That
use of cell phones. Is that part of the rules?
No, I don't think there's any rule in there about cell phones. For what? For bidding or
for communicating or for distracting other people?
there isn't anything in there about it colluding on bids. I think. I mean,
Should there be a rule that I should put it in the law?
I hadn't noticed that it was a problem in the past, but I probably didn't have as good a seat for it as some of you might have had. We sure could consider it if it's a problem and you think it's a problem. We could
What do
sure
you
talk
guys
about it.
I haven't heard of a problem yet. It might be something to consider in the future. I wouldn't be opposed to it, but maybe you know or heard of things that I haven't. So.
Yeah, but somebody could be recording me bidding or someone bidding or things. This is, I don't know who should be able to record what's going on in this.
I don't think we record it at all ourselves. It's a public place. I think it's a public place and it's a governmental building. I think the public probably would have a right to, First Amendment right to record it if they wanted to. I don't think we've ever had a situation where we've had a contest about who was the high bidder. But no, it was me. I don't think we've ever had that problem come up. I don't see what the harm would be for having it recorded. And I don't see that there would be a huge benefit for us to record it ourselves for any reason.
Okay, anything else, Pat? You had
I
the
don't think so.
discussion of moving permit resolution. I think we already have that discussion.
Well, it's on. No, we didn't really have. We had a little bit of a discussion about it. I don't know if there's any more, if there's any suggestions for changes, or if you want to adopt it as proposed, or if you want to see a second draft of it. If anything.
Myself, I was happy with the first draft.
Okay.
In our discussion this morning, didn't we kind of say that we might want to see what that they propose first before we adopt this? Or
No, that was on the Westar Hall route. This is on the permits for moving.
Oh, the permits. All right.
For moving homes.
Oh, okay.
Maybe we should bring it out again next week and everybody take a look at it.
Okay.
During the workshop session. Okay. Guess it's 1:30. You want to come up and talk about what your recommendation is going to be on the ambulance bids?
Gentlemen.
Just sitting low. Coming back from our bid process from last week, we tabled the issue to review bid specifications. I reviewed all four bids. All four bids meet our specification. So I have no issues with any of those. I did think about this a little late in the ballgame, but given that each bid did put the numbers in a little bit different place, I wish I got this on your electronic agendas, but I did not get that done because I thought about it late. I just summarized them so it was easier to read. I did get two companies clarified their number just a little bit because they were not specified out exactly how we put it in there with trade versus not trade, so we've got those clarifications now. Low bid was Tailor Made Ambulance out of Newport, Arkansas, as we discussed before. So I guess it comes down to you guys whether we accept low bid, we table the issue.
A substantial difference between the average bid and the low bid.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Definitely my
30,000.
recommendation with whatever bid we go with. I think our current ambulance is worth more to us either as a spare or attempting to sell it ourselves. So any bid we go with, I would decline the trade option. That would be my recommendation.
There's a $30,000 difference approximately. I don't know what exactly it is. 30 to 35,000.
Did you say there were two of them that were different, that had included the,
Yeah, I got a
Trading.
clarification by email on the Pinnacle Dimmers brand. Apparently we misspoke or something on the camera last time, and they emailed me to clarify that. It was in their bid. On the tailor-made ambulance, their bid was the trade was included. They did not separate that out, so that's the difference there. The $137,265.
Either way, you're only in a couple $1,000, $2,000 or $3,000.
Yeah, and that's my recommendation. Whether we keep the ambulance as a spare or we try to sell it later, I would, regardless of what decision you make here today, what we do with this, I would like to hold on to that ambulance for at least a short time while we shake down the new one, make sure it's going to fit. You know,
Sure.
all new vehicles have the potential for some bugs or recalls, so I think it's worth more to us to keep that ambulance at this point. If we decide down the road that it's a liability or we need to get rid of it, I think maybe Purple is a better option. So that's my recommendation on that one. If I do acquire access to another storage facility, that could change that right now I don't have a good place to store it.
do you have the Pennington bid? Because I had 2,500 down for the trade-in.
Is that the, which one is that?
Pennington, tailor-made.
There's the bid right there. Yeah, they offered 25 in trade, and that was included in the $134,765 price. They said without trade, they did not bid it that way. We would be at $137,265.
So I guess after you do all this research, what's your recommendation?
Well, we talked this morning. The earliest we could see a tailor-made ambulance, they said they had one coming through on March 21st, and they could stop
That's
with
next
it.
Thursday.
I mean, we put out for bid process to be competitive and to be as responsible with taxpayer dollars as we can. They all meet the bid spec. They're low bid.
Is it?
All of them have great references. All of them.
Warranty's the same and all that.
Hmm.
The warranties is roughly the same.
Warranties all meet the specification, roughly the same. Minor variations in all of them.
So I'm hearing you would recommend a little bit.
I don't see how we not go with it with state. I mean, I'd defer to Pat if it meets the specification.
It's, lowest responsible bidder, and if they meet the specifications, you need to have a good reason why you would not accept them.
Is there any contingency that you'd want? I mean, if we went with one that we would want to inspect a vehicle before a final, or do we not select today until inspection of a vehicle, or how do we want to purchase?
That would be up to you guys if you wanted to table. Apologize. I'm on the ambulance
I would
today.
say we give Corey the authority to inspect it, and if he likes it, next Thursday to purchase it.
So you're saying that we would accept the bid based upon a final inspection by Corey
Correct.
on the 21st.
And give him authority if he likes what he sees on the 21st. So, yeah,
Is that a motion?
that is a motion, sir.
I'll second that.
Okay, it's moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I should be ready to vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All passes 3-0.
Question being, would you like a purchase order this afternoon, or would you like a purchase order after inspection? Okay. All right.
What would be the process if something wouldn't be acceptable? Do we then re-look at these same bids?
I think we'd have to reopen the process.
Do we pay them on delivery, or
Pay on delivery.
so we won't
We'd
we
enter
won't
a
need a purchase
purchase.
order for a while?
But wouldn't we select from the remaining three if some reason that the
I'd
bid
have to
wasn't
defer
acceptable?
to Pat on that one.
Do we have
Let's see what the
a,
situation is before.
Yeah, I've never quite been in that situation, so.
Do we have a definite delivery date by?
Yes. Yes.
As part of the
It's in the bid
specifications.
specification, and we have the right to reject the completed vehicle that doesn't meet our specification upon delivery.
Did that motion include to keep the old ambulance?
Just simple a little bit of that. Yes, sir.
Okay.
On an unrelated note, if you've got a second, I did receive an email today from the Board of EMS that the Horton Hospital will be ceasing operations at 5 p.m. today. So I will be contacting the Brown County authorities to lend them our support, but it is my belief the Hiawatha Ambulance Service will be absorbing that. I know you guys were interested, and I did receive that email while I was sitting here. So.
According to news sources this morning, that's what was indicated by Mr. Calhoun. But that's the way it sounded like it was going to go.
Yeah. So I couldn't think of a more official way than the Board of EMS notifying me, so I figured that's okay to tell you guys.
It's a sad day in rural America.
Yeah.
I'm a sickened by it.
Yeah. I didn't want to see it leave either, but beyond my control.
Yeah.
All right,
Thank you,
gentlemen.
Corey.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, executive sessions. Are there any need for executive sessions today?
Not, I know of none.
Any public comment? Not seeing any. I would entertain a motion to adjourn at 1:37.
I so moved, Mr. Chairman.
I'll second that.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Passes 3-0.